Order, we have a number of special guests, I think, in the audience this morning. I know we have Sheriff David Woolfolk. Sheriff, you here? Good to have you here, sir. And also our Director of Public Schools, Dr. Nancy Zambito, is here. Good to see you. I know we have some school board members here. If you would, just stand up and say hi. Thank you. Okay, well, good morning, everyone. We'll call to order the March 1st, 2011 meeting of the Jackson City Council. And we'll call on Councilman Charles Rum to lead us in our invocation and pledge to allegiance.
Pray with me. Dear Father, we just rejoice this morning knowing that you are our Lord and Savior. We just thank you for the many blessings that you have given us as individuals and as a community. And dear Lord, it is my prayer that we strive to do things that are pleasing in your eye. Dear Lord, we just ask that you be with Councilman Buchanan as he continues to recover from his surgery. And we wish him Godspeed in his recovery. We just ask that you be with this council, and the decisions that we make this morning are ones that are pleasing to you. Dear Lord, it's in the name of Jesus that I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Anita, I think you can show a roll call that Councilman Buchanan is absent today, and we hope for a speedy recovery for him. Item 4 is approval of minutes of February 1st, 2011 meeting, and if there are no objections, I know council received a copy of those. We'll ask that they just be approved if there are no changes. Item 5 is the election of an interim city council person for District 2, and procedure is kind of outlined from previous vacancy we had. We've got 4 individuals who have been qualified to seek this position. I assume all 4 of those individuals are here this morning, and leave it up to the council's discretion on how they want to handle this. If they want them to come forward and ask them any questions, we can do that. The plan is once we elect an interim council person, then we'll go into about a 15-minute recess where that individual can be sworn in by Judge Blake Anderson, and we'll come back into session and put that individual right to work. The first resume that you have, and we'll take these in the order that they were brought to the office, is Willie L. Moore, Jr. You have a copy of Moore's resume and his cover letter. And if there are any questions in this board by the council, we'll entertain those at this time, and we'll vote on these individually as they're submitted to you all.
Thank you. I have a question. Just a couple.
Sure.
Good morning, Mr. Moore. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing fine. How you doing today?
Very good, thank you. One of the things I was looking through your resume, and I want to applaud you on you graduated from Lane 1975, cum laude. Very
Yes.
good. You went off to Atlanta to teach for, what, 5 years or something like that?
Yes.
Why did you leave Atlanta? I mean,
Well, I had an opportunity to return home, and I had an opportunity also to teach at my alma mater, which I love very dearly, Lane College.
so you got both good choices. You're from Jackson then?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You live on Lexington. Nice house?
568 Lexington Avenue.
Nice place.
Yes, it is.
I've actually been in that house. It's very nice. Thank you. It's been a long time, though. I mean, good 30, 40 years. Is there anything that you can tell me that would, in just in your own words, why you would, you're not running for the council position in the next 2 months, but is there anything that you're going to be able to bring to this council in the next 2 months that you could just tell me what your thoughts are on that?
Well, yes, first of all, living here in the city of Jackson and living in District 2 for most of my life, I have a feel for the kinds of things that the district might need, and being involved with different organizations, I think I could bring leadership and having to fulfill some of those needs.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. You can take your seat now if you like. Any other questions of Mr. Moore? Any modification as to the way we want to do this? I would.
Point of clarification, Mayor, we're just going to do an up or down vote on each candidate.
Well, we can take each candidate at a time and simply vote on each as they submitted their resumes and as they approach the council. But we can do it any way the council likes.
As opposed to interviewing each of the council members?
If you want to go ahead and ask all four of them to come up and answer any questions, we can do that, and that'll be over with, and then we get on with the vote.
I think that'd be fair.
Okay, everybody in agreement?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Moore, for coming out. The next resume that was submitted to the office was that of Muriel B. Price. Ms. Price, would you like to come forward, if you would? Morning.
Actually, I was going to call you. Sorry. Sorry. I do have a couple questions. May I? Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
I was going to call you last night, and I didn't get a chance to. I had a couple of other conversations. You're an ex-military. What is an E5 ranking?
E5 is a sergeant, works
Okay.
with a squad within a platoon, which is usually directed by a E7, it's a platoon sergeant. When I left, I was up for promotion for E6, staff sergeant. At the moment, up until I had a little small accident, I was re-entering the National Guard to become a military chaplain.
Okay. So you are an ordained minister.
Yes, I have, yeah.
Have you been preaching anywhere?
I started preaching, my first church was in 1989 in Holly Springs, Mississippi. The organization sent me there to reorganize it and restructure it, get it out of debt. From there, they sent me to Starkville, Mississippi to do the same thing, Alabama, Kentucky, and now I'm in Brownsville. Went there to help a young man who started a church, ex-military, came home from the Army. His son played Liberty School, and played in the state tournament, and he left and asked me to take over the church there, which is really a community work, designed and organized 501c3 to help the young women and young men in the city get job, re-education, support in different areas.
You have a master's degree
Yes, I do.
from Bethel, is that
Bethel
correct?
University.
You have your own company that you're called MVP Consulting, is that
Yes,
right?
MVP are my initials.
And what do you do with that?
I'm a small business consultant working primarily with startup businesses, medical offices. I do networking, integration, Microsoft, Novell, IBM. I'm also a HP consultant in the area. I do IBM contract work. You name it, I do it for any company, so that's
Okay.
what I do.
What are you going to, you're running for the council position, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
What will you bring to this council in the next 2 months then? Can you tell me what you're going to try to bring to us?
What I bring is an open mind about the process of city government. District 2, I feel has been underrepresented in the form that we are not actually informed about all the major issues concerning the city. We seem to be in a vacuum. I would like to get more involved with the process within the people. We talk about East Chester, but what about Whitehall School area, down Whitehall Street, back over to F.E. Wright,
Yes.
continuing on around back down to the fairground? We need to explore all possibilities of improving that district because it is part of the city. It is an entry point. If I was coming from out of town, from Mississippi, and I saw all of that collateral damage, I would ask myself, what happened? And who allowed it to proliferate? So when those questions come to my mind, I know it's on your mind. So I would like to involve in the discussion of how we can overall complete the process, not just start something to appease those who seem to be unhappy.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions of Pastor Price? Yeah.
The information technology initiative that you passed information out on that you're looking to do, are you looking to do that just for your district or for the whole city?
Well, I've been working with Councilman Brooks at large with e-waste recycling project. We did one last year at the Civic Center, one that I've been working on for 5 years, but I'm not prone to credit. I live by a principle spoken by President Reagan, if you please. A whole lot of things can get done when nobody worries about who gets the credit. It's the way I run my churches. This is the way I renew processes within organizations. So the information technology, I would like to see Jackson become a model of doing things green. Not to say that I need to run it, but we need to think about it.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
I just have one question for Mayor.
Sure, go ahead,
Thank you for being here, Mr. Price. What are your visions for District 2?
My vision for District 2 overall is to secure the safety and well-being of all the constituents within the district. There are senior citizens who are being forgotten. For instance, should we move the charter school directly behind a brand-new development of senior citizens? How will we protect them? How will we secure? Because the mindset of those individuals hasn't yet been changed. I would like to see the mindset of all the constituents change towards progress, not in a militant attitude or in any kind of way that seem to be overreaching. We need to come together as a whole. We forget about Boone Street. We don't think about part of Lexington. You know, I moved back into the district because I was concerned. I don't have to live here, but I was concerned in my spirit. I own property there. I rented it out 4 times and had to renew it 4 times, along with 2 tornadoes. And I've had to make major improvements within my home. So I understand the struggle of rebuilding. I understand that. I realize you have to collaborate, you have to agree at some point, but you can't agree on everything. So this is what I bring to District 2, that we can bring people together, that we can have discussions and not just have subgroups, cliques. We need to talk about ourselves, not about what's down here.
Do you have a plan for that vision?
I've already started working with most of the churches in the area. I've agreed that if we have an e-waste collection, I can get them the computers. Most time I work for free when it comes to churches. Home Baptist, Wesley Chapel, many of the churches have available space to put in small computer centers. I've done it in Memphis. I do it wherever I go. I'm a regular evangelist, traveling extensively throughout the United States. And I spend a lot of time counseling and consulting churches on how to bring in nonprofits, how to get your technology up to speed. So District 2, I'm already within the mix with most of the business people there. I worked for a copier company for 5 years. I know the needs that are expedient in that area.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, thank you, Pastor Price.
Yes, sir.
Third resume was submitted by Norma D. Bundy. Ms. Bundy, if you would come up and have a seat. Good morning.
Good morning.
Any questions of Ms. Bundy?
couple.
Okay.
Good morning. You and I see each other often enough. How are you doing today?
Fine, I'm fine, how are you?
Good. At least once a month, anyway, don't we? You're with same group I am, Jackson City Beautiful.
Yes,
You also have some, I think one of the things that you said in your resume, you had some leadership skills that you'd acquired over the years. Can you explain to me a couple of those that just highlights of
One
some
of them was
things that you've
Jackson
learned?
Beautiful.
Huh? Yeah,
one was Jackson Beautiful.
Right.
And I've been president of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, which is like 120 people. And I have, what else have I done? I've been in Jackson City Beautiful, and I've done social clubs. Most every organization I've been in, I've been the president.
You're a retired teacher,
Yes,
34 years, is that
Yes.
correct? Jackson, Madison County School System, the whole time,
yes,
here in Jackson.
yes.
What age group did you teach?
Third and fourth, very good group. Third grade is a very transitional grade.
Where did you teach?
Whitehall for 23, Washington Douglas for 3, and Jackson City Mary, when they had the Mary Junior High on the back, I taught special ed for 3 years. Then I did adult education for a number of years.
What will you bring to the council for the next 2 months?
Well, I'm very interested in helping the Parkview transition, and I think if we could get organizations to get involved with those children that come over there, I think we would maybe make some progress. I'd like to see if we could get some kind of group organization to get involved with those, all the children, but especially those that's coming to Parkview.
Thank you.
Ms. Bennett, hang on just a second. Let's see if there's any other questions from council. You can't run off this easily.
Not the only one.
Anyone else, any questions, Ms. Bundy?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Final resume to consider was submitted by Ruthie Jean Barnell Wisnot.
Good morning,
Good
how's
morning.
everybody doing?
Good morning. Any questions, Ms. Wisnot?
As always. You're quoted in the Jackson Sun. First of all, thank you for coming.
Thank you,
And I'm glad that you have local roots in a way. Middleton, Tennessee is where you grew up.
thank you.
You were asked or quoted by the Jackson Sun that you wanted a new agenda to the city council. Can you explain to me what that means?
Well, it's not so much a new agenda for the city council, it's a new agenda for District 2 as a
Okay.
whole, because that is where my energy will be focused at, is on District 2, even though I'll be a part of the city council, which, operate the city business for Jackson. But in thinking about District 2, since we now have the school that's coming into the area, which will be going into Parkview Montessori School, is to get with the community. Once something has been placed on you, you have to work with it to make it be something different than what it already is. So we're kind of going to look at, if it's going to be an alternative school, try to work a trade school in there with that, because those children will be citizens throughout the city of Jackson, Madison County.
Do you advocate trade schools? Or is that something that you think is really needed?
That's something that I think will work well with the alternative school, because you hear a lot of the parents say that when the children go to the school, what do they do? So, I'm not familiar with the agenda, so we kind of need to have the school board look at the agenda and work a trade in with it. So when you come there, it could be that the particular student, studying is just not their thing. Maybe hands-on is their thing. So they probably need to say, okay, this is a trade. Let me kind of, pursue this. And then that will help them get back on track, because they will be citizens throughout Jackson, Madison County or somewhere once they're adults.
You're not running for the council position?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
I'm
you
running
are?
for the council
Okay.
position.
I'm sorry. No, I mean, in May, too. Are you running in May?
Yes,
Okay.
mhm.
I've looked at a good long career you've had in accounting and bookkeeping, is that correct?
That's correct. Mhm.
Worked for a man I know, Dr. Ronald Weaver at one time.
Yes, right. His office manager for 6 years.
And he's no longer here with us here.
He's no longer here.
He's in California, I think, isn't he?
No, Dr. Weaver, Ronald A. Weaver, he passed away.
Oh, that's
in
right. I'm sorry.
1993.
I'm
Yes, he
sorry,
did.
that's right, that's right.
Okay.
It's been a long time. I couldn't remember the name, but I thought he'd moved off and retired, but nope. Okay.
No, he passed away.
He retired. Well, that was, yeah, he did. What will you bring to the council for the next 2 months? What will you bring to the council for the next 2 months? I'm sorry.
Well, for the next few months, I just want to be allowed the opportunity to come in and get some good orientation. This is new to me, and I'm not going to say that it's something that I've done. That's not true. I've always worked with communities. I work with individuals. My business on a daily basis requires me to work with the public, So, I feel like in 2 months, that's enough time to get in, get some good orientation, find out what the city council is all about, do's and, don'ts, things like that, because, you need training.
I know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question, if I may.
Sure, go ahead, Councilman.
Mr. Wisden, I'll ask you the same question I asked Mr. Price, and you may have answered it in your question to Mr. Newdecker, but what is your vision for District 2?
For District 2, going back to what I said about the charter school, of course, I would like to see a trade school worked in with that particular school. The other thing, Chester Street, it's a lot of development going on over there right now as far as the sidewalks. But I kind of want to see some buildings go up, and I have some ideas of some of the buildings and things that we would like to have over there. As well as we need to also find some vacant property where we can build subdivision for single mothers and fathers and couples to own their own homes and live in East Jackson so we can put money back into the community.
Okay, how do you think your background, especially your business background, will help you do that? And then how will that help the city council?
I'm the type of person that I enjoy working with individuals. It's not something that I like to do on my own. I like working with committees, so I will form committees and have them, to collaborate together so we'll know what we need to do and focus on those things. Start with something small, and once you get that accomplished, move on to something else. But that's not to say that while you're working on item 1, you cannot work on 3, 4, and 5 at the same time. Just have timelines to where you can get something done.
And my last question is, I guess you said that you are working toward a new agenda.
Mm-hmm.
What are your comments, or what did you think about the old agenda in District 2?
The old agenda, there's nothing negative about the old agenda. I just feel like sometimes after you look at something for so long and it appears to be okay, but it's not okay, and maybe we just sometimes get kind of, stagnant in what we're doing, and we just kind of, brush it off and go on to something else. So we kind of need to go back, revisit some of the things that occurred back in '03 when the tornado came along, go back and look at the things that we were promised for District 2 and kind of work on those things, and let's get some things done for District 2.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here.
Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
The Phase 3 accounting services that you run, is that in District 2 also, located in District 2?
What's the question again, please?
Your business, is it also located in District 2?
No, my business is located down on Howland.
Okay,
It's not in District 2.
okay.
My district.
It's in your district.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Wisman. Okay, if there's no objection from council, we've heard from the individuals who submitted resumes, and vote on each of these individually, beginning with the order that they were brought into the office. Remind the council that we'll take 2/3 vote to seat the successful candidate, and based on the sequence that resumes were brought into the office, the name of Willie L. Moore Jr. is submitted, and Councilman, please vote.
Mr. Moore has received 6 out of 7 votes.
Second resume is from Mario V. Price. Council, please vote.
Mr. Price has received 3 out of 7 votes.
Third resume is from Norma D. Bundy. Council, please vote.
Ms. Bundy has received 3 out of 7 votes.
And the final resume was submitted by Ruthie Jean Barnell Wisnut. Council, please vote.
Ms. Wisnick has received 3 out of 7 votes.
Okay, Madam Secretary, do we have a 2/3?
Mr.
Vote
Moore has
on Mr.
received
Moore.
6 out of 7 votes.
Okay. We'll declare that Moore is the next councilman, and I'll call for recess for about 15 minutes till he's sworn in and take a seat and go to work. We're here this morning to honor some very special people. We honor all the members of our fire department, our firefighters who serve us very well, but we have 3 particular firefighters that we want to acknowledge this morning. I'm going to come down to the podium, and I'll go ahead and call them up. We have Captain Robert J. Lehman, driver Matthew D. Gray, and firefighter John T. Kine. Come up, and I'll ask the chief and the deputy chief to come up. We're all very aware of what these firefighters do on a daily basis. The particular event which I'm going to relay to you occurred early one morning with the temperature being about 5 degrees. So I'll ask you to keep that in mind while I give you the incident that we're honoring them for here this morning. January the 12th, 2011, at about 4:07 a.m., crew of Engine 53 C Shift responded to a report of fire downstairs at 35 Fairfax Cove. Upon arrival, report was given of light smoke showing. Upon receiving reports from family members of the structure, it was determined that one of the family members was confined to a bed and was still within the structure. Captain Lehman and firefighter Kime immediately entered the structure to rescue Mr. Sneed through his bedroom window. Upon entering the structure, the conditions already deteriorated to a pre-flashover state, and while inside, a flashover occurred, involving almost half the structure. In entering the structure under these conditions, the crew of Engine 53C placed their lives in jeopardy to save another. And due to these dangerous conditions, this crew had to exit the structure with Mr. Sneed through his bedroom window. Driver Matthew Gray effort in supporting this rescue, and Engine 53C's driver ensured this rescue was completed with no further injury. Captain Robert Lehman, driver Matthew Gray, and firefighter John Kine's action shows their level of dedication to our community and reflects great credit upon themselves, the Jackson Fire Department, and the City of Jackson. And I'm going to ask Chief Pearson to come up and present their special citation to these firefighters. Let's give them a big hand, would you?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'm honored to be the chief of the fire department, representing such a fine group of young men. All of our firefighters are great individuals, and I'm honored to represent all of them. And I just want to thank the mayor and council for supporting the Jackson Fire Department, because if it wasn't for your efforts and your financial support, the training that these guys receive goes above and beyond basic firefighter training. It takes a lot more effort, a lot more work for them to reach that level where they have the confidence to do that type of a rescue. And I'm just proud of all of these guys. This citation reads, and all of them will read the same. Citation Medal Award is presented to Captain Robert Lehman for service to the Jackson Fire Department, February the 7th, 2011. present along with the citation. Presented to Matt D. Gay for service to the Jackson Fire Department, February the 7th, 2011. To John T. Kynes for service to the Jackson Fire Department, February 7th, 2011.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, firefighters, for your help. Okay, item 7 is the invitation for public comment, and I'll ask if there's anyone in the audience who would like to be recognized during the period for under new business. If you would indicate that. Item under new business. Under first readings, we have none, believe it or not. Second readings, item 9. We have, first item is consideration of an ordinance to rezone property located at 1550 Hollywood Drive from RG2 General Residential District to SC1 Planned Unit Commercial Development District, submitted by TLM and Associates on behalf of Mary Sue Hall, along with a staff-initiated larger area located on the east side of US 45 bypass from RS1 Single Family Residential District to SC1 Planned Unit Commercial Development District, comprising a total of 9.1 acres, more or less. Council has approved this on first reading.
Just one question.
Yes, sir.
And it has to do with that little track that's down there, number 2.
Yes, sir.
And I had forgotten about this to ask this earlier, but that's also owned by the same property owners, or is this something that we did because?
It's part of our larger area. It was a piece of land that was utilized by that tract to the north of it, so we're just cleaning that up too at the same time.
There's really very other small use except for maybe building into some of the other properties? Is that
Yes, sir.
correct? Yeah. All right, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Any other questions from council?
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion for approval, a second. Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Stan. Under item 10, on new business, item number 1 is consideration of a resolution agreeing to deed 5 acres more or less located south of Highway 70 bypass between Phillips and Cartmel Streets to Connections Preparatory School to be used for the establishment of a charter school. And I'll call on Councilman Brooks, the author of that resolution.
Thank you very much, Mayor. As the council is aware, I've submitted a alternative resolution to the resolution that was presented, I believe, 2 meetings ago. And at this time, I would like to make a motion to pass this issue until the next meeting.
Okay, there's a motion to postpone action on this resolution till the April meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Discussion? Council, please vote.
And the motion passes 7-1.
Item 2 is consideration of an application for a certificate of public convenience and necessity for Michael Lewis Cherry to operate a passenger vehicle for hire service known as A&M Transportation Services, located at 17B Brentshire Square, Suite 12, Jackson, Tennessee. This item will require a public hearing. The last information I had on this request was the vehicle had not received inspection. Is that right, Cam Corley?
That's correct.
Okay, from the,
It was presented for inspection yesterday. Lieutenant Adams is not available. And
Okay.
they're going to inspect the property.
okay,
Don't anticipate any issue.
okay. Council, if this is approved, the motion should really include contingent upon approval of inspection of the vehicle. I see no reason why we should delay it. And once that inspection has been approved, then he'll be ready to provide those services. Public hearing is required for this particular item, so I'll ask if there's anyone present who would like to speak in support or speak in opposition to the passage of this item. Okay, if not, we'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion made and second. Any discussion?
Mayor, let me, Chairman of the Taxi Board, let me make just a couple of comments. A question came up at the pre-agenda meeting about the amount of insurance. The Taxi Board for the last year has gone over all of the regulations to accept people for application for taxi service. This was one of the questions. The question came up, could we have raised the limits? And I understand the question is we could have. But a part of our study was we are in line with all the major cities in Tennessee in our insurance limits. We're trying to find a place as an incentive to bring people in to the taxi business, that we might have the service in the city and not set it so high that they could not afford to get into the business. So we settled and voted and approved this with the help of our attorney, in that we're in line with the major cities in Tennessee. So I want everybody to understand why we may have kind of a little bit of a low insurance, but that was the purpose, was to try to get people into the taxi service. So we feel good about it, in that we are in line with the other cities of the state.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, do we? Okay, council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Okay, item 3 is consideration of contract using an energy grant for signal indication replacement.
Four bids were received on this item, and the low bidder was Davis Elliott Construction Company with $40,325.96. They're out of Union City. This is the first time this company has ever done business with the city of Jackson, and his references checked out, and it's the recommendation of the engineering and purchasing departments to make this award. And basically, they're going to supply the bulbs to put in our traffic signals. They'll be the LED energy-saving bulbs. Mr. Chandler is here, and he can answer any technical questions you might have.
Any questions from council as to content of this contract?
I have a question, if I may, Mayor.
Please.
Scott, is this stimulus money?
It is. It was a direct grant, formula grant that was passed down from the stimulus package.
And at this point, how much of the, how many in dollars of the stimulus funds has the city used? Do you know?
The total grant award was $670,700, I believe, and basically this project that's before you and the next one on the agenda will be pretty well using all of those funds.
Okay, so these two projects, have you used stimulus funds in previous projects?
Not from this energy grant we have.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions?
Yes, just a couple
Go
of
ahead,
questions.
Councilman.
We're talking about just replacing the bulbs themselves, is that correct? How many locations are we talking about?
53?
53?
53 intersections. The newer intersections we put in recent years, we're already putting in LEDs, so this will just about get us all our signals up to LEDs.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second. Motion and second. Any additional discussion? Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Item 4 is consideration of contract using an energy grant at the Civic Center.
Bids were received on this project. We received 3. Universal Contractors was the low bid at $452,953. And because the bids came in so low, we were able to utilize the 3 alternates to replace additional lighting in the basement, in the non-public area, in the mezzanine area, and in the control level. Again, Mr. Chandler's here for any technical questions you might have.
Question.
Go ahead.
What exactly are we going to be doing?
The main, the bulk of the project in the Civic Center is going to be replacing some variable air volume terminal units.
I know what they are.
And that's, that's the majority of the costs associated. I think the original units are still in the Civic Center, and what we're going to be replacing them with is going to be a lot more energy efficient. Then, like I said, the balance of the alternates will be lighting upgrades to more efficient lighting.
Will the secondary, the alternates 1, 2, and 3, what exactly are they going to be? How are they separate from this one?
What do you mean, how are they separate?
Well, they're certainly were segregated away from the other.
We did that because we had the signal project under way for bid 2. We wasn't sure how the prices was going to come in. We wanted to have a project bid that we could award and move forward with.
Yeah.
And we sectioned those alternates out so that if prices were to come in higher than the grant funds, we could drop those off. So we wasn't sure exactly how much we was able to do, but because of the pricing that we got with both projects, we could award all 3.
What is alternate 1, though?
That's to replace the lighting in the basement
It's
area.
listed.
Okay, okay, I'm sorry.
All of those are listed on the
I'm reading down
summary
the page bid. too, yeah, okay. Non-public mezzanine, okay.
There wasn't really anything special about the individual alternates other than that we wanted to, have those available if we could do them. They're obviously some of the lesser important energy saving portions. We wanted to get the best bang for the buck on them.
What kind of lighting are we going to be using in the non-public and basement areas? I mean, are we going to fluorescent, or are we going to,
There may be some existing fluorescents in there, but there's more energy efficient ones than, out there today than previous years. So we basically had our consultant go in and look at all the different aspects and the balance of lighting upgrades and HVAC upgrades to, like I said, to get the most for our money.
thank you.
Any other questions, Councilman Wallace?
Yes, sir. Scott, how much did you say the energy grant was for?
The total grant was $670,700.
With these two amounts that we still have some surplus, what will those funds be used for?
Well, right now, I spoke with the Department of Energy yesterday. There was some design fees that came out of this already. There was the LED purchase. The signal LED change-out is for the work only. We've already got the LEDs in stock that we purchased out of that money too. I think there's around a $50,000 balance that will be left of funds unobligated at this point, but we're basically working with the DOE now to maybe come back to you with an additional project. But at this point, we've got about $50,000 left in the grant unobligated.
Councilman?
I noticed on the alternates that the bids from the other bidders were lower. Was this like a package deal where we couldn't, offer those to the other bidders, or would they do it without the big?
We made them aware of that at the bids, that we would have one contractor and that we would not split the contract out.
Any other questions?
I just had a quick question. That was my earlier question, Scott. So the total stimulus funds that that your department has received is about 720,000?
No, sir. We had like I said, the original grant for $670,700. Some months back, we purchased LED bulbs, which was around $100,000. We then hired TLM and Associates to start developing the project for the Civic Center. Right. Their contract is around $27,000, I believe. All those individual pieces are coming out of this grant. These are the actual implementation of the two projects. And once we get these two done, along with the purchase of the LEDs and the contract for TLM, that all totals up basically the balance of the grant, and will leave about $50,000 unaccounted for of the total grant.
Okay, so I'm still just trying to get the numbers right. We've spent 670 theoretically so far for these 2 energy grants, and there's 50,000 left. Is that what you're saying?
There will be, after these are approved and completed, if, you know, when these are done under these bid amounts, there'll be about 50,000 that we can maybe reapportion a small project
For some other things.
to do the balance of
Okay.
the grant.
All right, that's just what I wanted to understand. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Any other questions? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. A motion, second. Discussion. Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Thank you, guys. Item 5 is consideration of entering into a contract with the Ferguson Group, a contract that we've had with the city for a number of years with this organization. And we have, in case the council has any questions about the contract or a crystal ball look at the future as far as what's coming down from Washington, D.C., we have Kareem here. Kareem, you want to come up? And Kareem has worked with us over the past years, and I guess we're one of his designated cities that he works with in Washington. So, council has any questions, or Kareem, if you have just a brief overview of where we've been and where we're going, hopefully.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. My name is Kareem Murphy. I'm a partner with the Ferguson Group. We're a Washington, D.C. firm that's based, the focus is on local governments. We're the largest firm in Washington, D.C. that specializes in local governments. We've been working with the City of Jackson since 2002, helping them interface with federal agencies and with your congressional delegation. We think it's been a successful partnership. There's some funding that we have been instrumental in helping the city secure. There's a lot of additional funding that the city has secured that we played no role in, but if you just focus on the federal funds that we have helped the city secure in partnership with your congressional delegation, it's a little over $25 million. So we think that there's been a pretty good return on investment for the city services or city's investment and trust in our firm. We've helped the city secure projects related to roads, criminal justice initiatives, workforce development, flood control, tornado recovery, and some other critical areas that the city has identified. Our previous work has focused largely on appropriations, as I am sure the council is very well aware. There's been a change in Congress in terms of how they expect to be interfacing on that. They won't be doing appropriations in the way that they've done them previously. So we saw this coming about a year ago, and we launched a new line of business called TFG Grants that we've been using. We've been working with the city staff to develop and pursue a whole host of competitive awards that will remain available. We actually hired the business administrator from the city of Newark to lead our services in that regard. So in terms of the landscape for next year, we, should it be the city council's wish to continue on with us, we worked with city staff to identify priority projects from the city and line them up with what we see as opportunities coming on board this calendar year. And they do focus on actual competitive grant programs. There's a draft federal agenda I hope that the council has in their agenda packet before you. They focus on a whole host of projects, records management, parks and recreation. There's actually a pending cold case grant program that's actually open right now. We hope to be working with the city to secure that. Safe schools, offender reentry, probably about 6 or 7 different other areas for which they are competitive grants that we anticipate being available based upon what we know right now. So what we'd like to be doing is to focus on the city's pursuit of those. We would be working with the staff to resource the city in the pursuit of those. Where there's need for an actual grant writer, we do have that capability to be writing grants for the city and pursue those, and to work with your congressional delegation to make sure that the federal agencies understand the priority and the need here. That's essentially our strategy in terms of moving forward. We think that there's still a lot of opportunities at the federal level for federal funding, and we'd like to be a partner in your pursuit of that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Mr. Murphy?
Question? Yes, please. You were talking about TFG grants. I'm not sure what the acronym means. TFG.
I'm sorry.
TFG means what?
It stands for the Ferguson Group. I'm sorry, sir.
It's all right. You also stated you were doing some grant writing between 2002 and today. You've not done the grant writing itself, have you? Or have you?
We have not. We have helped the city pursue grants, but we have actually not written any particular grants for the city.
So this is a new service that you're offering the city of Jackson, is the ability to write grants, is that correct?
Yes, sir. We brought a grant writer and grant writing staff on board last year to the Ferguson Group. So we've hired grant writers internally to make sure that we
So
could.
this is included in the contractual agreement that we have today?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's news.
I guess
Thank you.
I do. So I'm clear. Going forward, you will be writing the grants for the city, or you will be assisting us in writing the grants?
It's both, actually, sir. You have excellent city staff that actually has
Thank you. We think
capability to
so,
write a limited amount of grants, but based upon the breadth of opportunities, they would be overburdened to pursue every opportunity that we
Sure.
feel out there. So what we've done is I had conversations with city staff on a conference call about a month ago, and put together a proposed draft work plan. So there will be specific grants that the Ferguson Group would be taking the lead on writing in consultation with city staff. There will be others where there will probably be need for some critical outside review of those grants to make sure that they are in compliance with the conversations that, for instance, I might have with the grant program officer, so that we can prioritize them. Ideally, what you want is the grant package to be aligned with what the agency would like to see.
Sure.
And so we can provide that type of resource where we're not writing it, but we're providing a critical feedback and review.
Okay, thanks. With the makeup of the new congressional delegation, does the Ferguson Group have some additional strategies that they will use, or what's your feeling?
I've had conversations with all three offices, with both senators and with Congressman Fincher's office. They are prepared to support the city's pursuit of these grant applications. They're relatively, I wouldn't say relatively, they're all enthusiastic about supporting it, at least based upon my interactions with their staff. That largely means that they would be more than willing to write letters of support, and if necessary, to follow up on some of the agency work that might need to be done to be sure that, again, everybody understands how critical these particular projects are to Jackson and what the benefit locally and regionally are for these.
And I guess my last question is, you quoted the $25.3 million figure that the Ferguson Group has brought to the city of Jackson. Do you think that figure is inflated with the earmarks that have come to the city in the past?
I wouldn't say inflated. There largely are earmarks. That does not include any competitive grant awards, because we weren't, our scope of services never really needed to venture into that area. So that $25 million is almost all
Okay, because
earmark
the
awards.
discussion has been that those grants would have come to us anyway.
There are, if I just might reply, there's probably several $1 million in grant awards, competitive grant awards that the city has secured over the years that we've had no role in. You just actually heard a presentation on the Energy Efficiency and Community Block Grant Program. We played no role in that. That was a formula award. There's the Local Law Enforcement Block Grant. There were some competitive awards for the fire department and for the police department that we played no role in. They are not reflected in that total, sir. So.
Okay, that's my question. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, Councilman Wallace?
Just following up on the question that he's asking there, then the grants you've got listed, the 25 million, you're saying that pretty much you're responsible for those? Or, I know each grant's a little bit different, it's kind of complicated, but is responsibility 90% you and 10% the city for receiving those, or is it a variety of different?
Yeah, those were earmarks. Those were obtained to us directly from the congressional delegation.
Well, my question though is, had we not hired the Ferguson Group, would we receive none of those grants?
We may have received a few, but the role that the Ferguson Group has played is they've been able to identify what our need is, match it up to the appropriate governmental agency, and then work with the delegation staffs to obtain that earmark. We would not have secured many of those, most of those.
Okay.
Ourselves.
Okay, that was my question, is that had we not hired those, would we not gotten these grants? And you're saying probably not a lot of them then. Okay.
And follow up, and going forward, these grant opportunities will lessen. We won't have as many grant opportunities going forward with what you're saying, with our present Congress and their focus relative to earmarks and appropriations.
I just might state that a little differently. I would say that there are plenty of competitive grant awards, and that's what we're proposing will be the larger scope of our work.
Okay.
There will not be congressional earmarks.
Okay.
They've made a decision, there's an interim ban on that will probably last till early next year.
Right,
So
that's the
federal
shield.
funds are available, it's just the mechanism by which you go about securing them is what has changed.
Okay,
So
and I
we will
didn't
be,
mean- I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, but and that's the shift in focus of the Ferguson Group now with the TGF grants that you will now start pursuing even more.
correct.
Okay.
And there may be other opportunities that come up in terms of working with the congressional delegation for some directed funding that we may not foresee right now. Those would be things that, if the opportunities do present themselves, we would be working with the staff and with the mayor and the council to be sure to make an assessment about whether you want to pursue those or not. But what the work plan, the draft work plan that we have today is based upon the opportunities we see right now.
Okay, thank you.
One of the other services that they provide is, once the grant is obtained, they help us walk through the process to make sure that it comes to us. Sometimes you get stuck, there's some foot dragging, there's some obstacles that they're able to go straight through the delegation to get those, and that's a big help to us. Kareem has a great relationship with our department heads and our staff, and he's a very responsive, professional person with high integrity.
Okay, any other, Councilman Wallace? Yes.
I guess the other thing we need to take into consideration is the grants are going to be a lot more restricted. There's going to be a lot more competition for the grants now, so having somebody on board to help us with that would be very beneficial for the city. Is that kind of?
Yes, sir, that's completely accurate, and that's one of the reasons, again, why we were concerned that we would wind up where we are right now, and so early last year, that's why we launched the grant service, so that we'd know that regardless of where the opportunities were, we would be positioned, the Ferguson Group would be positioned to assist the city and assist our local government clients. So yes, sir.
Motion to approve the contract.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any further discussion?
Just one question, I just want to make sure that this is correct, that this is an $80,000 a year contract, this is for this fiscal year, and that there is another $6,000 that, we're, a maximum $6,000 that we're using for travel, is that correct? Yeah.
We travel, but we're not traveling as much as we have in the past. He did Kareem was able to do a telephone conference call with our department heads a month or so back. If there's a need for him to be here, he'll come. They have a fund that they've set up that can be used for travel that will not affect us. We will participate if we need to. But
Last question, Mayor, and the contract has stayed the same amount over the last several years, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. It has not changed.
That's true. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? We have a motion and a second.
We do budget, we're going to be setting that budget aside, though, the 6,000, in case, not that we're going to spend it, but it'll be set aside. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Council, please vote.
Motion passes 7-1.
Thank you. Okay. Number six, item number 6 on board appointments, Plan Commission appointment of Manolo Patterson, who will replace Ray Washington, who has done an outstanding job on the Planning Commission for a number of years, and he wishes not to be reappointed because of other commitments. So Manolo Patterson is slated to be on the Plan Commission. Is there a motion for approval of Ms. Patterson?
So moved.
A motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a second. Council, please vote.
The vote is unanimous.
Item 7 is consideration of budget amendments. Bell?
And this is a transfer from the Robertson Trust Fund to the general fund to cover the golf course expenses that we've incurred since October, $30,000.
Any questions, Ms. Bell?
Just put us over budget in the golf course expenditures. Are we still within budget there?
Yes, yes.
Is there a motion for approval of this amendment?
So moved.
I have a motion. To a second?
Second.
Second. Additional discussion. Council, please vote.
Motion passes 7-1.
Thank you.
Item 8 is consideration of invoices over $10,000.
So moved.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Have a second, any discussion? Not, council, please vote.
Motion passes 7-1.
There being no further business, meeting is adjourned.